Childhood should be a time of innocence, of laughter, safety, and discovery. But for some, it is a battlefield. What begins as fear, neglect, or pain can echo through the years, shaping a life in ways that no one could predict. And in the darkest cases, the scars of childhood become the seeds of violence. This is a story of how trauma, when left unchecked, can transform a child into a killer. From the outside, he seemed ordinary. To his neighbors, he was quiet. To his teachers, he was withdrawn, but not alarming. But behind closed doors, his childhood was nothing short of a nightmare. His home was filled not with warmth, but with screams. His father's fists and his mother's silence painting every corner of his young world in fear. Each day, he learned that trust was dangerous and love was conditional. He carried bruises not only on his skin, but deep inside his mind, where the wounds would never fully heal. While other children dreamed of games and friendships, he dreamed of escape. And when escape never came, something inside him began to twist. Psychologists often say that childhood trauma doesn't just disappear. It lingers, buried like landmines in the mind, waiting to explode later in life. For him, those explosions came in waves of rage he couldn't explain, in moments of cold attachment where empathy should have lived. He learned to hide behind a mask, but beneath it, the child who had once been powerless was growing into an adult who craved control. Years later, when the news broke of the crime, the world was horrified. A brutal murder, cold, deliberate, and merciless. Reporters called him a monster, a killer without remorse. But to those who looked deeper, the question was more complex. Was he born evil, or was he shaped by the relentless cruelty of his past? In the interrogation room, detectives noted his strange calm. No tears, no regret, only a quiet intensity in his eyes, as though he had been preparing for this moment his entire life. He spoke of betrayal, of pain, of anger he had carried since childhood. His words weren't excuses. They were echoes of the boy who had once begged for love and received only violence. What makes this story chilling is not just the act of murder, but the journey that led there. The human brain, when subjected to years of trauma, can rewire itself for survival. Fight, flight, or freeze. These instincts dominate. For him, survival had always meant building walls, shutting out compassion, and replacing fear with fury. When the moment came to kill, it was as if the child who had once been powerless finally took control. Through destruction, the trial revealed the full weight of his past. Neighbors testified about the abuse they had ignored. Teachers admitted they saw the warning signs, but did nothing. Social workers had visited, but the system failed him. Layer upon layer, his childhood became a haunting record of neglect that no one had stopped. Yet, no amount of sympathy could erase the horror of the crime. A life was lost, and no explanation could bring them back. The court sentenced him to life behind bars, where he would spend his days in the silence of a cell, trapped once again. Only this time, by walls that would never fall away. And still, the question lingers. Who is truly responsible for what he became? Was it the parents who raised him in violence? The society that turned away? Or did the boy, despite it all, still have a choice? His story reminds us that monsters are not always born. They're often made. Childhood trauma can leave invisible scars that shape an entire lifetime, and when those scars are ignored, the consequences can be devastating. In the end, this case is not just about one killer. It's about the haunting truth that every child carries the weight of their upbringing into adulthood. Some heal, some endure, but some, tragically, let the pain consume them until there's nothing left but darkness. The past never really dies. For some, it whispers. For others, it screams. And sometimes, those screams end in blood. If you found this story haunting, subscribe for more insights into the minds of criminals and the shadows of trauma that shaped them.